Hi everyone. This will be the first video I've ever put out online, and it's certainly a video that I never thought I'd make. And it's not really a video about something I particularly want to talk about, but I think it's important because other people need to know about this. I have something called empty nose syndrome, or ENS for short. Not many people know about this, whether that's because it's rare or because it just goes underreported. That's up for debate. But for those of you who don't know, it's caused by turbinate surgery. So often when people have blocked noses or sinus issues, they'll go, or they want like cosmetic surgery, they'll go to their ENT or a plastic surgeon, and they'll have something called a turbinate reduction done. It's advertised as something that's incredibly safe. It certainly was the case for me, that I was told that it was incredibly safe and nothing to worry about, and they would grow back in time, and I'd probably have to have it done again. No big deal. Turns out that parts of my inferior turbinates were resected, which means basically amputated. These are bony structures in your nose. And yeah, sorry, I probably should have mentioned what turbinates actually are. I guess it's, to me, who deals with this every day, like it's something I'm like intimately familiar with, but a lot of people, including me, I didn't know what they were before I had surgery, or before I even had ENS. They're long structures that sit in the nasal canal, and they basically regulate, humidify and sense airflow. They provide resistance when you breathe. They're not really something you ever really notice, unless you have like a blocked nose. But then even then you just think, I have a blocked nose. You don't really think much about them. But the truth of it is, these structures are extremely important. They're critical for living. Yeah, there are 3 sets of them: the superior, middle, I'm pointing at my forehead, superior, middle, inferior, and they all sit on top of each other, kind of like shelves. And generally, it's the inferiors that are operated on, with occasional middle turbinate surgery as well. Most of the time, people have these surgeries and they go about their lives and they don't know any different. They feel better, I guess. I mean, there's a reason why this surgery is done, but when it goes wrong, it goes really, really wrong. So after I had surgery, it was for sleep apnea, which I still have. Turns out I didn't need that surgery. I had all the problems in my throat, not so much up in my nose. But I was told otherwise. For 6 years, I was okay. My nose was still functioning. And then I got COVID about 1.5 years ago, and I guess it was too much for the remaining tissue in my nose, and it kind of just imploded in on itself, which isn't an uncommon story. There are a lot of people in the support group for ENS who have similar patterns, where they'll go for months, days, years without symptoms appearing, and then down the line something will happen, some kind of an event, like some kind of trauma or a viral infection or something, and it will trigger the condition. And then from there on out, life is just utter hell, like literal hell. I mean, I guess you can't really see because of the lighting, but my face is covered in rashes. this is a good day for that, but usually like I look like a leprosy victim just from stress. What ENS actually is a combination of generally missing too much turbinate tissue. That's the current consensus, but more and more it's becoming obvious that it's also due to basically permanent damage to the mucosal lining of your nasal turbinates. There are plenty of people who've had conservative operations with things like radio frequency who have developed ENS-like symptoms, and they still have all of their volume left, and they really, really suffer. So I guess, what does it actually feel like? That's the trouble of it. It's literal hell. You no longer are able to sense yourself breathing, and it's hard to describe. It's like when you take a breath, you expect some kind of a resistance, and your brain kind of registers that resistance and that feeling of air passing through all the structures in your nose as you breathing, and if that signal isn't being registered, whether through a lack of resistance or due to nerve damage or receptors in your nose being damaged, that they're not picking it up, then it basically lights the fear center up in your brain. You begin to think that you are suffocating, being waterboarded, drowning, being strangled, and it's very it's hard to make the distinction between like literal suffocation and like the sensation of it. I know that I'm not literally suffocating because I would be dead, but my brain, like the more primitive side of my brain, I guess, like the amygdala, I guess you'd call it. I'm saying this as somebody who, I guess in layman's terms, does not know that. So you're constantly in a state of just pure panic. When I first got ENS, I was having seizures constantly. To be clear, non-epileptic seizures, but seizures all the same. Convulsing, screaming, crying. Couldn't sleep, still can't sleep. There's a horrible thing that comes with ENS where, because your brain isn't registering that you're breathing, it doesn't let you sleep. It jerks you awake as soon as you're about to fall asleep because it thinks that you're dying. And it's pure hell when you can't sleep and you also can't breathe. It destroys you. Even the hardest person can't fight it. If it gets bad enough, this disease has a reputation. There are a lot of people who have lost their lives to by their own hand because of this condition. It's viciously cruel. It's the most unnatural feeling you could possibly imagine. It genuinely makes you wish you were dead a lot of the time. I often feel like I'm like in a living nightmare. I wake up in the morning and it's like waking up into a nightmare. There's nothing like waking up and having the realization, after being put to sleep with loads and loads of sedatives, waking up into the realization that you have to go through another day of not being able to breathe. And one of the other horrible things about it is many people don't know what it is. So you go to your GP and you're like, what's wrong with me? Like, why can't I breathe? And they test your blood oxygen and they're like, oh, you're fine, don't worry, like everything's normal, but you're not normal. and nobody understands. You go to your ENT and you're like, I can't breathe, and I have a feeling it's something to do with this operation, and they hate you for it. They will call you crazy. Let me be clear, this is not every ENT, and I am not going after ENTs with any hatred or anything like that. It's just the way this is. It's ENS is not taken kindly in those circles generally. I have been called crazy. I've been told that I've missed my psych meds when they've shown them videos of me having seizures due to suffocation. It's really, really frightening, especially when you're looked at as if you have like a severe mental illness. I did not have any kind of a mental illness aside from those associated with my sleep disorder, depression. But there was a before and after ENS, and anybody who knows me could say that I was a different person. And then before ENS and overnight, I completely changed. And the longer this goes on, the more tired I become. And I'm not sure how much longer I can do it, to be honest. And that's a common sentiment shared with everyone with this condition. I mean, we're all of us are like adrift at sea, desperately trying to cling to some kind of a hope in terms of a regenerative solution, or any kind of medical advancement. But I feel like this condition's being buried and not many people know about it. It's such a common operation, and it's a staple of like ENT practice. And so I guess the thought of it leading to such horrific complications isn't something that people are that keen on addressing. But let me be clear, like, the complications are real, and the people who have lost their lives, people deserve to know why. I think it's disrespectful to those of us who are suffering and those of us who are no longer around to not know what happened to them. And yeah, if I had known that there was even a 0.1% chance of developing a condition that's literally like being in a horror movie. Like, I feel like I have a demon that's possessing me at all times, that is trying to point a gun at my head. And I very much want to live, but I don't really know how in this body right now. And I have a lot of anger and a lot of frustration, and I am valid in those feelings are valid. But I think the point I'm trying to make with this video is to spread awareness more than anything. I wish I had known. Nobody told me about the complications of this surgery. I was lied to. I was told it would fix all my problems. It didn't, and it caused problems beyond my imagining later down the line. So I'm hoping that this video will at least, potentially prevent ENS in other people who haven't developed it yet. And I'm also hoping that creating this video will inspire other people who have this condition to come forward and make videos like this, because people need to know. I don't know if it's too late for me. I hope not. There is a team in Italy working on a regenerative solution, and I hope that they come through with that. But these things take time, and nothing's guaranteed. At the moment, everybody who can afford it in our community are going to stem cell clinics in places like Europe and South America, hoping that it would provide some kind of relief. I myself went. Unfortunately, it didn't help me. But yeah, what else was I supposed to do, right? In the meantime, it's just about holding on. But it's hard to hold on when every minute feels like an eternity. And, you know, it's destroyed me, and it's destroyed my family. And I don't know what else to say, really, other than, you know what you're getting yourself into before you go for like an elective surgery. I don't think turbinates should be touched unless somebody has something like nasal cancer. There's a reason why turbinates hypertrophy, which means to swell up. There's generally a root cause. And I was never offered any kind of a solution to address that root cause. I have allergies. If I had addressed those, I probably would have had a better experience in terms of my nasal breathing. I certainly didn't need, you know, a good portion of my inferior turbinates resected, and now I can't breathe at all. Not through my mouth either. If anybody's wondering, it doesn't work like that. The panic's still, even when you're mouth breathing, you're still nose breathing to an extent, and the panic is still very much there. Like there's a feeling or an absence of feeling due to nerve damage, and breathing through my mouth does not get rid of that panic. I expect a lot of people will think that I'm making this up, or I might have like some kind of a mental illness, which is, you know, fine, think what you want. But I am being genuine, and I'm not crazy. And I hope that comes across in this video. Sometimes I definitely do come across as crazy because on the outside, when it's bad, it does look like mental illness. I mean, it's just one long panic attack. But yeah, I mean, try having like a wet towel over your head or a plastic bag over your head 24/7 and try not to lose your mind. Anyway, I think that's everything I have to say. Stay safe and, you know, trust your doctors, but do your own research at the same time, because not everybody has your best interests or your safety in mind. Bye.